Hey, Randy Joe here, and welcome back to August Country. Throughout the month of August, we've been listening to different country albums, and we have covered a couple of pretty fantastic, brilliant albums, and some great, well-known, legendary artists, such as Marty Robbins, such as Johnny Cash, such as Townes Van Zandt, who, by the way, last album I heard was his. Thought was fantastic. I thought it was a brilliant LP. Blew my mind. His self-titled. That reaction, last upload. Go check it out if you like Townes Van Zandt, because that album blew my mind and really, I've listened to it several times since that reaction. Fantastic. Just beautiful. But enough gushing about Townes Van Zandt, because we're not talking about that legend today. We're talking about a different legend. We are talking about Mr. Willie Nelson. Now, I am a fan of Willie Nelson already. I love his voice, I love his artistry, and I love his album, specifically Red-Headed Stranger, perhaps his most, I think, well-known. Maybe Stardust is more popular. However, Phases and Stages is the one we're checking out today, because this seems to be the one that people recommend if you've already heard Red-Headed Strangers or even Stardust to some. Don't know too much about this. I know it's a bit of a concept record. I know it deals a lot more in grieving the loss of a loved one, not in death as far as I know, but in relationship, heartbreak, themes of divorce perhaps. So 34 minutes, 22 seconds, 11 tracks, which really means that most of these tracks are quite short, which, with Willie Nelson isn't unheard of. And with a lot of the country tracks we've heard this month also isn't too unheard of, because it seems like country music does seem to focus on a bit on the shorter side of things, which is certainly welcome, because it, kind of hits you hard and fast, leaves you thinking. Let's go into this opening track, Phases and Stages, theme, Washing the Dishes. Quite a mouthful.
Phases and stages,
And that classic voice of his.
circles and cycles, scenes that we've all seen before. Let me tell you some more.
Him and his stripped back guitar.
Washing the dishes,
Another staple of Nelson's.
scrubbing the floors.
I like that nice piano too, very gentle.
Who don't care anymore. Learning
Reaching the end of a relationship is what I'm gathering here.
all the things
Going through the motions, as they say.
like washing the shirts
Oh,
and never complaining,
I like the strings coming up too in the background.
except of red stain, ironing and crying and
I believe this is from the
ironing,
perspective of the lady here.
someone who don't care anymore.
Seems her hubby has lost a bit of interest.
Someday she'll just walk away.
Oh, what a cold close. Right into the second track here, continuing the concept.
Circles and cycles,
This one's walking.
scenes that we've all seen before.
Kind of like this repeating Phases and Stages motif.
Let me tell you some more.
That opening track really kind of setting up this heartbreak that I feel like is going to loom over the album. Oh. Kind of like the way it just sunk into the sound. I like this instrumental passage quite a bit. Just really nice,
Carefully considering
warm country sound.
whole situation, and we're saving except for one another.
Damn.
And before
At least
you
trying to spare each
wake
other's
up,
feelings.
I'll be gone.
But
'Cause after carefully
seems like he or she in this situation has made that choice
the whole
to call off the whole relationship.
and I'm not running away and crawling ain't no good at all.
such a great sense of emotion in the concept of this album. Willie really kind of digging into the hard truths of a failing relationship.
No good at all.
Beautiful track. Depressing as all hell, I feel like. Let's go into Pretend I Never Happened. Oh boy, already continuing with what seems like a really sad ending to a relationship. Oh. Bit of a jumpiness to the sound. Okay. I like this much more upbeat nature, despite still a very emotionally charged kind of track lyrically. Love that frantic strings, that plucking. And also that bass line. Oh. Okay. Really nice abrupt kind of stops to kind of hit you over the head. Okay, alright. I love those moments where things start to falter and stop. Maybe mimicking the kind of faltering in the relationship. You'll find ways to spend your time. I think he's pleading here for his love to force herself to move on here. Which shows a sense of perhaps remorse for the way that things went. Just wanting them to move on and be in a much better place. That was a great track. Really loved how upbeat it was. Well, still, again, sticking with the concept of the album. Let's go into Sisters Coming Home / Down at the Corner Beer Joint.
Sister's coming home. Mama's gonna let us sleep whole
This is
day long.
me stepping away from the breakup side of things.
Whole day long.
Best way to do it.
Sister's coming home. Mama don't like the man that done her.
Oh, coming from the family side of things, seeing the effect it's had on this woman. Here she's stepped away and she's gone back to her family to find a sense of peace and familiarity. I feel like many people in the midst of a breakup, in the midst of turmoil, tend to go back to family due to the familiar nature of it. Keeps you grounded. Oh. Okay. Love this violin. I'm not sure who the strings were. Not seeing violin anywhere here. Maybe it wasn't a violin.
Down at the corner beer joint, dancing to the rock and roll. My sister likes
Okay,
to do it
going to the
low,
second half of this track. Going to Down at the Corner Beer Joint.
Down at the corner, her jeans fit a little bit tighter than they did before.
Maybe she let herself go in this relationship, in this marriage. But that's okay, we all do. Relationship weight is a real thing. Now she's trying to get back out there. Trying to move on from this man, trying to have a good time. Get back on that horse, as they say. We got a nice banjo coming in here too, which I saw earlier. Played by Eric Weisberg. I like that. Just solid playing too, and the mandolin. Johnny Gimbel as well. I like the sweeter nature of this, you know, that kind of turning around of a broken heart. let's go into the next track. I'm really loving the way Willie's really breaking down, you know, that sort of feeling after a relationship. Here's How Will I Know I'm Falling in Love Again. This woman here, struggling with trust, perhaps. That's the risk, right? You gotta go all in. All part of the game of love, it seems to be. I love this really slow nature. Oh yeah, picking it up. Delicate, the way that escalated. I think I'm, in some ways, enjoying this more than Redheaded Stranger. Like the different direction it takes. Okay. Getting even more delicate with this piano. There's so much emotion. It feels like a real tearjerker of an instrumental. Especially that piano. Barry Beckett on the keyboards. Fantastic, Barry. Really tugging on the heartstrings here. Here's Bloody Mary Morning. Much more upbeat. Oh, most popular track by a landslide. Switching back to the man here, who's taking a different approach, it seems. Doesn't even care. Temptation and deceit, the order of the day. Well, it's a Bloody Mary morning, 'cause I'm leaving baby somewhere in LA. Not even fighting for it. This guy is really just throwing in the towel instantly. He said not worth fighting for. So I'm flying down. Okay. I believe this is the mandolin there, Johnny Gimbel. Oh. That's the pedal steel guitar, perhaps, by John Huey. Oh my goodness. All over the place. Really good switch of the instruments throughout that passage. This one's much more frantic, very upbeat, completely different nature that the man seems to be taking in this album than the woman, who seems to be hurt a lot more. Back into the theme of the album. No love around as well. Scenes that we've all seen before. Yeah, we have, Willie. Let me tell you some more. Let me tell you some more. Tell me some more, Willie. I'm invested in this heartbreak. Last Saturday morning, knocked on my door. They said your baby don't love you anymore. Back to the man who seems like he's. Well, I got dressed up and I went downtown. He's got a different, again, very different outlook on this. And I went downtown. But he's still trying. Here's his moment of clarity, perhaps. Oh. Kind of like the way that kind of twanged in. I like this one, but it definitely was more repetitive. Wasn't my favorite of the bunch. But it's nice to see the man's side of things, the way he's taking it. Maybe the second half of the album will focus more on him.
This is the very
Oh, yeah.
day since you left me. What's in a song?
Oh, this is I Still Can't Believe You're Gone. I guess it should say the title of the track.
And all I can hear
But I
myself sing.
like to see this man's at least reminiscing more. That pain is hitting him after the fact, it would seem. Maybe there was an initial shock.
You're gone. I still can't believe
Realizing
that you'd leave.
what he had after it's too late. Seems to be the concept of this album.
But I'll take it till I'm strong.
Seems he's
All I can hear
still in doubt.
myself singing, baby, 'cause I still can't believe you're gone.
The Nile is a river in Egypt, as they say. This man, broken-hearted once it's really seemed to sunk in. But even still, you know, he can't wrap his head around it. I believe from that first track, the nature of things is he just wasn't appreciating her while she was there. She had enough of that. But now that she's gone, he's realizing that maybe he took her for granted. Maybe he should have been more there. Perhaps more attentive.
But you're gone.
Very emotive. Very sad, solemn approach. It's not supposed to be that way as this one here.
And like the other little children, you're gonna dream a dream or two.
Calling her a child? Maybe not the best
But
way
be
to a woman's heart there.
careful what you're dreaming. You're supposed to know that I love you,
Like this
but it don't matter
kinda creeping
anyway.
instrumental in the background there. The way it's ever so slightly
If I
ascending.
can't be there to console you, and then rush to meet your lover
Oh,
and play with real fire until the dawn. But it's not supposed to be that way.
perhaps alluding to cheating here? I'm not too sure.
You're supposed to know. You're supposed to know that I love you.
These slower tracks on this back half are not hitting as
but
hard
it
as
don't matter
I would like them to.
anyway. If I can't be there to console you.
I think still from the perspective of the man wishing he could maybe control his woman. Heaven and Hell is this one here.
Sometimes I don't even know. Sometimes
We were
I
talking
make
about-
it as far as I can, and sometimes I don't even go.
The concept of love,
My front track
being in a
is
relationship.
bound for a cold water well.
Oh. Kind of Hawaiian-esque. With how twangy those kind of like electric guitars are.
Cold and hell ain't a mountain fire. But heaven is laying in my sweet baby's arms.
That it is.
And hell is when baby times heaven. Sometimes
I like that one. It was quick. I still feel like the second half of this album isn't hitting as hard as the first half.
Phases and stages.
So we're going back to this main theme, which I do like this theme quite a bit.
Circles and cycles. Scenes that we've all seen before.
Going back to the theme, wrapping up this heartbreak.
Let me tell you some more. And that I'm living too fast. And they say I can't last for much longer.
Life in the fast lane. Is this the man or the woman here?
But little they see.
So
pick up
oh,
just a little.
We got backup
Take
vocals.
it on home.
They're gonna be back.
The singer ain't singing,
Nope.
and the drummer's been
Green and
dragging
Soul.
too long.
Soon to be our backup singers here.
Time will take care of itself, so just leave time alone.
Really placed an emphasis on those lines.
Well, I'm wild and I'm mean. I'm creating the scene. I'm going crazy.
Lost without his love. Sinking into the depths
Good and I'm bad.
of a madness.
And I'm sad and I'm lazy.
We've all felt that. We've all been there.
I'm quiet and I'm loud, and I'm gathering a crowd, and I like gravy.
Seems like he's a attention seeker here.
And take it on home.
All right, and wrapping it back up into this theme,
Phases and stages.
just flows right into it. Seems like
Let me tell you some more.
the main idea of this track, to pick up the tempo, the concept that time heals all wounds, even the wound of a broken heart, which seems to be the main drive of this album. This failing, I'd gather marriage, perhaps, but it could just be a relationship, not a full-blown, committed marriage. But still, in this sense, the woman leaves the man. She seems to have gotten sick of, I think the bore of everyday life, kind of fell out of love with the man. Partly because I think he is neglectful, it would seem, in some of the lyrics here. I love the delivery. I love the way we looked at both angles. The album was split pretty evenly, with the first half focused more on her, second half focused more on his perspective. And it seems like the way they both take it, the way they both sort of moved on, was slightly different. She seemed more kind of depressed at the start of things, leaving him, maybe a sense of guilt, quite obviously. But also, as time went on, she seemed to have healed. But the man seems like he struggled more after the fact. He seemed, at least in the one track, Bloody Mary Morning, he seemed like he was kind of happy. Maybe he was feeling like he was free from his woman. But then as time went on, realized he's feeling quite lonely. He's missing her. He's full of regret. Love the way it's executed. And I loved just the beautiful, sort of short, quick sort of delivery of the concepts and tracks here. Instrumentally, it's beautiful. It's pretty sparse. It's very clean. It has moments where the backdrop becomes more embellished, becomes larger, such as on Pick Up the Tempo, or even on the track Bloody Mary Morning, obviously, which feels probably the most, I would say, optimistic this album ever is. But for the most part, this thing is pretty sparse, pretty lonely, pretty desolate, kind of matches the themes of the very depressing side of the marriage here as it comes to a close. And I really liked it. I really don't have much negative to say. I do think the second half of this album does start to kind of lose focus for me personally. I kind of wish it went a little bit more in depth on his heartbreak. I feel like it was a bit more rich on her side of things than his. But even still, you do hear that sense of pain and sense of misery as he realizes how lonely he is. And then in the end, Pick Up the Tempo, I think, kind of chronicling both of them in the sense that they are realizing that time will heal all wounds. And, the best thing to do is to just move on, to wait it out, to let things improve upon himself, which they will. Because that is, truthfully, how a heartbreak goes. It is, hard, it's heavy, until eventually it isn't. And then day by day, you move on until you realize you don't even think about them anymore. And that seems to be, I think, the concept of this record. And at only 34 minutes, it's pretty quick. So, honestly, worthy of a listen to throw on every once in a while, especially if you're feeling a little bit more down, a little bit more contemplative. Maybe you're dealing with a heartbreak yourself. This is a solid, quick listen. But that does it for today's video. If you like this video, please hit like, subscribe for more August Country. Recommend a country album down below if you like country music. I would love to check it out. I'd love to see if I could squeeze it into the schedule here, because we have quite a few more to go before we close out the month. And, of course, we also listen to new albums. So if you have a new album that just came out, or a new album coming out, throw it down, say, hey, I want you to listen to this one, and I'll see if I could squeeze that in as well. As always, my name is Randy Joe, and I'm signing off.